The playoff picture's coming into focus, sort of. One South Division team is making a late charge. Plus, a couple of Western Conference teams do battle right to the end. With 2 months left in the regular season, it's really getting serious. Find out how serious right now on ECHL Week.
Hi, welcome to another edition of ECHL Week. This time coming to you from the Scope Arena in Norfolk, Virginia, home of the Norfolk Admirals. The ECHL season has headed into its final third, and after those 324 games have been completed, the 16 teams good enough to qualify for the 2017 Kelly Cup playoffs will be set. But between now and April 8th, many things must still be decided. So let's take a look at the playoff picture as the season begins its final 2-month segment. In a terrific example of how things can change in a hurry, let's look at the Mountain Division. For much of the middle third of the season, Allen, Colorado, Idaho, and Alaska were neck and neck, jockeying for the top spot. The other teams seemed oh so far away. Not anymore. Both Utah and Missouri have gone on great runs to climb right back in the playoff picture, while Allen and Colorado are running away from the pack. Remember, the first 2 rounds of the playoffs this season are all within the division, so in most cases that'll mean teams that have been battling each other during the regular season will get to do it again in best-of-7 series in the postseason. The other Western Conference division, the Central, was Toledo's playground for much of the season, but even the mighty Walleye have stumbled a bit recently, going 5 games without a victory and allowing Fort Wayne a chance to entertain visions of getting to the top of that pack. Quad City and Kalamazoo have both been on pretty good runs lately. That's unlike Tulsa, which got off to the best start in the league. However, since ECHL All-Star goaltender Jamie Phillips was summoned to Manitoba of the American League, the Oilers have fallen on hard times. You'll get a chance to see them in our highlight game later in the program. The Eastern Conference might feature even better races. In the North, Manchester has been setting the pace all season, but the Monarchs can't rest easy as Reading, Brampton, and Adirondack are nipping at their heels. The Beast in particular started the final third of the season on a 6-game winning streak. And of course, don't forget about last year's Kelly Cup finalist, the Wheeling Nailers. Just a few points separate them from that 2nd, 3rd, 4th logjam. Florida, the only team still with single-digit regulation time losses, is tied for the league lead with Toledo, and it's hard to imagine the Everblades falling out of playoff position. But Greenville, Orlando, and South Carolina are within just a couple points of one another, and Cincinnati trails that group by a narrow margin. And although they're 15 points from a postseason spot, the Norfolk Admirals have been one of the better teams in the East since early December. More about them later in the show. The bottom line is that with 1/3 of the season remaining, 21 teams are currently in a playoff spot or within 5 points of one. The last 2 months of the regular season should be good ones. They always are.
Hi, this is Luke Pither of the Brampton Beast, and you're watching ECHL Week.
Time to take a look at news from around the ECHL. Tristan Grant of Rapid City has been suspended for 13 games as a result of his match penalty for slashing in the 3rd period of the February 10th game against Allen. He'll be eligible to return to the lineup on March 15th. Allen's Dyson Stevenson has been suspended for 3 games for his actions in the same game. The Kelly Cup is preparing for its annual pre-playoff tour. It'll stop in 8 league cities over the next 2 months. During its journey, it'll make appearances at games, schools, broadcast outlets, and other community events. The Cup will put on over 7,800 miles during this trip. Don't worry, though. It'll be well rested and ready to go when its new owner earns the right to carry it around the ice in early June.
A team that's had a big turnaround since the start of the season is still talking playoffs. Next on ECHL Week.
I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Hi, I'm Clark Saunders of the Colorado Eagles, and you're watching ECHL Week.
The Norfolk Admirals got off to a miserable start this season, winning 2 of their first 19 games, so changes were made. Most of the team members from early in the season are gone. A new architect, accepting his first ECHL coaching job, was brought in to right the ship. Robbie Fatorik is the only current ECHL coach who's also been a bench boss in the National Hockey League. Since that start, the Admirals are 16-13. Plus, they've established an ECHL mark for the longest shutout run. It's been quite a turnaround, and they've yet to give up on the playoff dream. Captain Brody DuPont.
Oh, we're still there mathematically, so we're all playing for a common goal, which is to make the playoffs. And we understand, the battle we have, the uphill battle, and just got to string a lot of wins together and, play for pride and play for playoffs and play for each other.
It's obviously something that's in the back of your head. We're all competitive, and we want to see that end goal. And but yeah, as you said, it's one of those things you just have to worry about your next shift, your next game, and stay positive and just keep focused on being in the moment.
Coach Fatorik discusses remaking a team in mid-season.
And you got to continue to push forward and get better or get better players, which you can do at this level. You have some guys that are, from a parent team that's going to be here, but you've got a lot of other players that can be improved upon, not only by learning how to play better or just by moving them out and getting new players in, which is what happened here at the beginning of my coaching time here. But I like to try to teach the guys how to play better, and so that's exciting. But I like the play level when we're playing well.
A veteran announcer in his first season with a new team stops by on our Voices feature. That's straight ahead on ECHL Week.
What's the difference between a breakaway and getting caught? Between an odd man rush and being the odd man out? Gaining an extra second. Be ahead of the game.
Hi, this is Guy Leboeuf of the Malheur Jackals, and you're watching ECHL Week.
It's a great view of the game from the top row at Scope. Now here's an even better view of our highlight game of the week.
Now we get a fight inside the Oilers zone. Joseph White was jumped as he came out of the box by Jacob Doty. So it'll be Doty and Joseph White. Doty hammering away, and Joseph White down on the ice now. Now we got another one in front of the Missouri bench as this will boil over. Courtney's straddling the bench, thinking about jumping into this, which would not be smart for Courtney, but
Paquette is not happy because he just saw Courtney stub
it was Tyler Elbrecht and Reed Halabi. Courtney pressured by Ladd, who lifts it up the wall. Obakowski holds his own, chips it on goal, one hops. Stevens wraps it on goal, off a skate, they score! Comes all the way down in the Missouri zone. The Mavericks will have to regroup there as Riley Obakowski will scoop up the puck. Ognev chases, forces a turnover, in front of Chance, back into, they score! Christoph Wolanset! Picked up and carried out by Kessie. Kessie skates into the right circle, cuts to the net, has it poke check, now in front of Chance, backdoor, Kessie scores! Kessie gives the Oilers their first lead of the weekend. Mavericks chip it into the Tulsa zone, good play by Elo, walks in, scores! Here's Matt Finn. Into the Oilers zone, poke checked by Drapluck. Finn gets it back though, drops it off to Carzo, centered into the slot, Elo, right circle, scores! Cunningham D-to-D for Garrett Haar, walks into the right circle, he fires, that's blocked. Back to Cunningham in the left circle, finds Fawcett, Wade shoots and a save, rebound, loose, they score! Danik Paquette ties the game! Haar gets back, finds Murphy in the corner. Darcy Murphy feeds it out front. He had Fawcett cutting, couldn't connect, and here come the Mavericks. 1:09 left, it's Dane Fox into the Tulsa zone, shoots, he scores! Dane Fox shoots it into the top corner over the glove of Stevens.
The men behind the microphones, voices of the ECHL. Today, Terry Ficcarelli of the Indy Fuel. What's your favorite road city in the ECHL?
I'm thinking it might be Fort Wayne, only because I enjoy all the people that are associated with the Fort Wayne Comets organization, the Franke family, and Scott Sproat, the marketing director, Chuck Bailey, the PR man, and all the media guys there. They always make me feel so welcome that I'm part of the family.
Any memorable mistakes you don't mind talking about?
I know there was one game I kept referring to the team as the wrong name. And I finally got so frustrated with myself, I said right on the air, I said, if I say Atlanta one more time, will someone please grab a gun and shoot me?
Tell us about a noteworthy moment in your career.
It was when I broadcasted my 3,000th consecutive game in pro hockey without ever missing one. That was in Muskegon about 9 years ago now. That was a special time because my whole family was there to witness it. I was especially taken back by how proud my dad was. And I could just see it in his eyes because my dad was a hard-nosed, hard-boiled Italian who believes in tough love, and that's the size of it. And I could see in his eyes how proud he was of me, and that made me very happy.
What's the best part of your job?
Is broadcasting the games. I can't believe after all these years that I still enjoy broadcasting hockey as much as I did the first time I ever did it. I think that I think I've surprised myself. I never thought after all these years that I would still enjoy broadcasting hockey.
That wraps up another edition of ECHL Week from Norfolk, Virginia. Thanks for watching. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. They're the best ways to stay on top of everything that's going on in the ECHL. We'll see you next time.